All right. There's been a recent buzz around Google's NotebookLM. It's an experimental research product that lets you import information, synthesize it, and then query it in a chatbot style. There are a plethora of use cases. And Google also released a very interesting feature recently called Audio Overview. You can essentially create a natural sounding podcast based on the information you imported. Let's take a look at how NotebookLM works. So by simply going to notebooklm.google.com and signing in, you can click New Notebook to start creating a notebook. And right here, you can see that you can import data from multiple sources, from your Google Drive, from a link, a YouTube video, just copy and paste the text, or file types like PDFs and markdowns. Let's start with importing some website information. Now, in this scenario, I'm a product manager and I'm exploring the edtech market. So I want to build a product for the edtech market, and I want to start by doing a simple market analysis. So as you can see, I'm simply uploading or pasting links from websites. And then finally, like I mentioned, I can also put in a PDF file. And as you can see, all the sources that I imported are here. And I can actually see a brief summary of each source. Pretty neat, right? After uploading the sources, I have the notebook guide. It seems like here it gave me a summary of just one of these articles. I'm sure if I refresh, it'll give me a summary of the whole of all the four articles. Here, I can see suggested questions on how to start. So it's already created questions that I could start asking based on these documents. This is the audio overview feature that I talked about. It's going to take a few minutes to generate. So while I walk you through other parts of Notebook LM, I'll just click generate so that we can wait for it. Awesome. So like I mentioned, we can start querying the information we have here. Let's start with one of these suggested questions. So we've asked it, what are the current trends in AI applications within the edtech industry? And it's going to go look through all these documents and provide a suitable answer to this question. Perfect. So we've gotten a response, and the current trends, it first talks about the types of AI applications, the broader industry trends, and this is pretty neat. Now, notice one cool thing that this does. It just doesn't give me the information, but it also references where exactly it found that and in which document. So if I click this, it goes to the exact point in one of my sources from which it got this information. That's amazing when I want to maybe quote sources verbatim. All right. Another cool thing is that I can actually save this as a note. When I click Save to Note, it essentially saves this exact response so that right when I come back to this notebook, I can have a look at this note or this response. Let's go back to the notebook guide. It also has some specific suggestions of things to create. I can create an FAQ, a study guide, table of contents, timeline, briefing document. So I really wish I had this when I was a student. I could simply upload my notes or course material and just ask it to create a study guide or to create, you know, questions for me to practice for my tests. If I was a professional, I could import my work and then have it create a briefing document, or I could create an FAQ or a timeline of events. Now, you can also just chat with it. You don't have to go through suggested questions. So let me just ask it, what are the opportunities to exploit in this market? Simple question. And once again, it's going off to these sources, finding the information, and then getting back to me with a response. Now, while that loads, notice that you can upload 50 sources. That's incredible. So you can upload sources across different formats and up to 50 of them and have NotebookLM query all of them to give you a response. Cool. Check this out. So based on that question, we got this response for opportunities to exploit. Pretty neat. Now, hopefully the audio overview is done generating, and it's not. So I'm going to fast forward this a little bit, and I'll be back when the audio overview is ready.
A few moments later.
All right. So the audio overview is done. It's 16 minutes worth of content. We're not going to review the whole thing, but let's take maybe 30 seconds to listen to how the podcast sounds.
Hey everyone, and welcome back for another deep dive. You ready for this one? Today, we're strapping on our virtual reality headsets, diving headfirst into the world of AI in education.
Oh,
Sounds exciting.
I know, right? Now you might be thinking AI in education. Isn't that just a fancy term for like a glorified spell check?
Well,
But trust me, this is way bigger. We're talking about like a seismic shift in how we learn from like kindergarten all the way to like higher education and even beyond.
wow.
And to prove it, I've got a stack of reports and articles here, thicker than a textbook on quantum physics. Get this, the ed tech market, that's education technology, is projected to hit a whopping, are you ready
Okay,
for this?
so that was just 40 seconds of the audio overview. You can see how it sounds like a podcast, and it blows my mind every time I listen to it. Like it doesn't get old, and it's honestly just a fun tool, especially for people who learn better with audio. So I can see this being used by students uploading your course material, and then essentially having a 15-minute podcast that you can listen to on your way to class. So it's very very powerful. And you can also share this notebook. So if you click share, you can have several sharing options as well. Here, you can download the audio overview. And yeah, I just encourage you to give this a try. See how you use it in your work, in your schoolwork, in anything you're doing, in the research you're doing. Yeah, that's it. Notebook LM.